Questions for you. So you've been on CNBC Daily. I think you were on Fox Business earlier today. Where do you stand on cryptocurrency broadly and specifically?
Well, I'm not a fan. I mean, I think that CNBC. I'm friends with a lot of people there, and I have this. I call.
I love Joe Kernan.
Well, yeah. A week ago, I made a call. I said they're going to crash, and literally 4 minutes later, they went from started going from 15,000 as low as 6,000. Now, you don't have to be a genius to know that, because basically anyone who has a half a brain on Wall Street knows they're going to zero.
Yeah.
In fact, Goldman Sachs just released an article today, just got it from CNBC, saying all the cryptos they're all going to zero. Now, here's my problem with the cryptos. Okay, is that, and I love the millennials.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, guys, it's not your fault. So don't be mad at me. I'm trying to wake you up from this illusion that you've somehow, self-delusion echo chamber you've ended up in, where you think that you're going to reinvent the world and the banking system is going to vanish in favor of cryptocurrencies. Let me tell you the bottom line here.
Yeah.
Number one, there are inherent problems with the whole cryptocurrency model in terms of energy usage, transaction time. But forget all that for a second. Forget all that. Yeah. Here's the cornerstone issue. There's no way under the sun that the central banks of the world will allow their systems to lose control of the money supply. Yeah. They will squash it, they will destroy it, and here's what they'll do. No, they'll take blockchain technology, which has some uses, and they'll launch their own cryptocurrencies that are backed by the government. They're not going to let this become some free-for-all where the money supply now, think about the whole entire world, civilization and economics is based on controlling the money supply.
Yeah.
They use the money supply to stimulate the economy in bad times and to rein it in when it becomes overheated.
Correct.
So let's just lose control of that and give it to a bunch of kids, and some computers. The only way that Bitcoin will ever become anything is if the Terminator 2 happens. They launch all the missiles and everything blows up, and in the wake, the computers that launch the missiles will then say, "Oh, here's our cryptocurrency." Right? What will happen is these things, and right now there's such massive, and here's my other problem: there's massive fraud going on right now. Massive fraud. Yeah. Whether it's Tether that doesn't exist, maybe half of it exists if you're lucky. The exchanges that are rampant, there's no regulation, and I know, unfortunately, firsthand that when there's not regulation, the damage that's done financially is so severe that what you're going to find here is this is far worse than anybody thought. So I think they're all going to zero and they're going fast. That's my opinion.
What would the old Jordan Belfort back in?
I'd probably be doing ICOs myself back in the old days. I mean, listen, back in the old days, I wasn't really thinking much about ethics and integrity. I was thinking about how do you make as much money as you can as fast as you can. So what's happening right now is that's what's driving this. You have a lot of people who really are not concerned with the ethics of it all. And there's things like I saw before Facebook banned their advertising, thank God. They had guys like this guy Altshuler who was this crypto genius, he told himself, with some wacky hairstyle. So he looked like Einstein. This guy's like writing fraudulent things like every day on Facebook, like this is the next $1 million crypto. You're going to make $1 million overnight, like things that will put you in jail.
Loans.
Yeah, just terrible. So I, it's really, listen, it really irked me because I love the millennials, and it's become almost a religious fervor for them with this cryptos because they've been brainwashed and they don't understand how bad. Like what they've seen over the last week in cryptocurrencies, that's not a crash.
Yeah.
That's the beginning. A crash is when it goes from like 8,000 to 2,001. There's no liquidity. It shuts down.
Correct.
You can't. This stuff evaporates. It's going to evaporate, and it's going to happen really fast. You already see China throw up the Great Wall. Yeah. They're done. India's done. I mean, right now what you see is this phase one is that the banking system is essentially isolating the virus. They've had every credit card company's cut off from Bitcoin. Everything's been cut off, right? That's step one. So next step is they're going to squash it, which is what they're doing right now. The SEC says, they want to now regulate all ICOs and make them register. Guess what? Once the ICOs have to register, it's over because they have to file 10Ks and Qs. They can't get audits. Hence, Tether, they fired their auditor. So,
Okay, so that makes sense. All right. So one last question, and I had to ask this, is you got to tell this helicopter story in Italy with the Navy SEALs.
No, as the yacht was sinking, we had to make room for the Navy SEALs to land, so we were forced to wait for a wave to lift the boat to the right, and then we pushed the helicopter over the side to make room for the landing of the SEALs. And of course, at that moment in time, the one thing I was worried about was where were my Quaaludes? I'm sober for many years now, but at the time, all I can, we're going to actually run downstairs, get the drugs, and make ourselves back onto the battleship, and then get high again. That was luckily, I got my check from the Lloyds of London, and that was that. But yeah, that was an interesting day.
That's one of the funniest Jordan stories. So we're going to see you at the Synergy Global Forum, February 22nd at the Marriott Marquis. Jordan, thank you for being on the New Theory podcast. Before we go, one last question. Give us your philosophy on how use a straight line method, right? Go into the Synergy Global Forum, but also what's your general philosophy on how somebody gets rich in 2018? Your just general philosophy.
How you get rich in 2018? Hard fucking work.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, people get rich when they have a good idea, combined with smart execution and a lot of hard work. Okay, there are no. Listen, I believe that you get rich quickly.
Yeah.
But after years of hard work, it's like you work hard, don't get the result. Work hard, and then you finally line up the elements of success. When you start making money, it happens hard and fast. But there's a lot of work that goes into that, and my point is that you need to go out into life and say, okay, there are certain skills I'm going to need to really succeed and get what I want.
Yeah.
When you know what you want to do, identify what those skills are and learn them.
Yeah.
And then take action, massive action, okay, and use the philosophy of failing elegantly, succeeding wildly. Success is a formula. You can take all my money away, I'd be rich again in a few years because I know the rules of success and how you apply that. But it all comes down at the end of the day, you got to work really, really hard and not be scared to fail. Embrace failure, learn from it, move on, and try again, and eventually you will succeed.
Love it, Jordan. We'll see you in the Synergy Global Forum and this is the New Theory Podcast.